Hi, Deb DeWolff here at Cool Tool Studios, and today we're going to be doing another fun polymer clay project. This time we're going to be making a leaf cane. So let's get started. The tools we will need today are a pasta machine, a rigid blade, tissue blade, and an acrylic roller is optional. Of course, we have our work surface, and that's about it at this point. To get the Skinner blends, you might need other tools, but we already have our Skinner blends made because we already did a previous video on the Skinner blends. So, right, just a little word on polymer clay colors. I believe that these colors are polymer clay colors right out of the package. White, fuchsia, and purple, 3 different colors in this Skinner blend. For this Skinner blend, I mixed my own green colors, green and yellow colors, with the clay to achieve this Skinner blend. And you can opt to do that or not. You can use clays right out of the package, or you can mix your own colors and use those in your Skinner blends. It's your choice. And I usually tend to mix colors in about a 2-ounce amount. I don't use all 2 ounces in the Skinner blends. I might use 1 ounce of each color, but I try to get a large enough Skinner blend of about 4 to 6 ounces total, so that I have a large enough Skinner blend so that I can use it in different projects. So I have enough for different projects. Our first step, of course, was making the Skinner blends. You're going to want 2 contrasting Skinner blends, one for the leaf body and one for the veins of the leaf. And what we're going to be doing first is this cane. And we've made this before. It's a bullseye cane made with the Skinner blend. And what I chose to do is keep the light color inside and the dark color on the outside. And we'll go ahead and make that. What we need is our leaf color Skinner blend. And I'm going to use about a 4-inch piece. That's the width of my pasta machine. And I'm going to fold it just like we did in a previous video. Fold it color to color and run it through my pasta machine on the largest or the widest setting. To lengthen it. And now we're going to make it even longer. So you want to set your pasta machine down. Don't go more than 2 steps. You don't have to go through each individual step on your pasta machine, but don't go more than 2 steps down in width. So I was on a 1 on my pasta machine. It might be different on yours, but I was on a 1 and now I'm at the 3. And I'm going to send it through again. And that made it longer. And now I'm going to skip 4 and go down to 5. And this might be where I want to stop. You can make it even thinner and longer than this if you want. The thinner you make this, the more graduated this will be, and the less you will see the individual colors in the bullseye. So at this point, I think I'm going to stop and roll it up. bullseye fashion. I'm going to give myself a nice clean edge to start with. Start rolling it up. Be careful not to get any air in. Now, this is where your acrylic roller might come in handy. If you don't want to use your fingers or your hands, you can use the acrylic roller to get a nice, smooth, roll. Just make sure you don't get any air in it. And when you come to the end, you want to give yourself another nice clean edge. And I usually cut the edges off in a bevel. It makes it easier to blend the end into the cane. And you can just use your fingers to do that. And there we have the beginning of our leaf cane. The next step will be to cut sections of this cane to put in the veins. So we're going to set this aside momentarily because we're going to want to use the vein color that you've chosen, that Skinner blend, to make ribbons like these. Okay? And we did this in another video also. Well, what we're going to want to do with this is roll this into a, I call it a cigar, but and then reduce it lengthwise. My clay's a little dry. It's been sitting for a while. We reduce it lengthwise by rolling from the ends towards the center. Because we want to make the Skinner blend narrower to get this ribbon. So I'm rolling from the ends towards the center, and then I'm also pushing the ends because I want to keep this the same size throughout as much as possible. And you can see that this side, the white or lighter side, is moving a little bit faster than this side. This purple end was a little bit drier or a little bit stiffer. So you want to make sure you're moving that part of the clay a little bit more forcefully than the other side so that it stays the same size. But we're getting there. All right, now when you have it reduced to about this size, which is about this width, you're going to start to flatten it out in order to run it through the pasta machine. So I'm flattening it with my fingers and pulling it, stretching it, because I want it a little bit wider than the widest setting on my pasta machine, so I can run it through and make these flat ribbons. Okay, before I run this through the pasta machine, I just want to point out I have two different widths here, and the wider one is for the center vein of the leaf, and the skinnier one is for the side veining. You can do that or not, it's entirely up to you, but I like to see as much of the blend as possible in each one of the veins. And if I used the same width, the wider one, for all of the veins, even the side ones, you wouldn't be able to see the entire blend. So now we're going to run this, and hopefully it doesn't. We're going to run this through the pasta machine and make a flat ribbon. Okay, so now I've got a flat ribbon for the center of my leaf cane, and I'm going to use just part of it, and I'm going to make this one even skinnier. So what I will do is run it through and push with my finger, my thumb, against it. Okay, so to make the narrower ribbon, I push it with my finger as it's going through the pasta machine, or push it with my thumb. To make it a little more narrow. You can see that the purple clay here was a little bit stiff and is starting to crumble a little bit. But that's okay, we're not going to use the whole ribbon for the veins, so I'll just pick the good parts. So we can just cut that part off. I think we're good to go here. So we're going to take the bullseye cane we made, and we're going to cut it. The first thing we need to do is decide where we're going to cut it in half. In other words, what's going to be the base of the leaf and what's going to be the point of the leaf. And we've got a pretty clear definition here where the end of the roll was. So I'm going to make that the base of the leaf. And what I want to do is then, using that as a guide, mark the top of the cane where I want to cut it, and then mark down the other side where the cut's going to go. And just make sure that's half at the bottom. Yep. So that's where the cutting line will be on the top, and then I have a cutting guide on the side, and then on this side where the seam is. So for this, you want to stand or look down from the top and hold your blade right over the marks you've made. And just go gradually and keep checking the sides to make sure your blade is running along those marks you made, to make sure you're cutting it right where you want it to be. Just go slowly. And there you go. Now you're going to want to cut the side veins. And to do that, you just kind of eyeball it, because it doesn't really matter if these are exact. It doesn't matter if there's an exact measurement in between each vein on one side, and it doesn't matter if the veins on one side perfectly match up with the veins on the other side, because it's a leaf and it's organic, so it's okay. But again, you're going to want to look down from the top and just go very slowly to make your cuts. Another thing that you want to do is, once you've made your cuts, keep them in order. Don't flip them over and don't turn them around, because you're going to get yourself confused if you do that. So I'm going to go slowly. Use a nice clean blade so there's as little drag as possible. There's one. And two. Okay, so now we want to decide. You can opt to make the center vein dark to light from the base to the tip, or light to dark from the base to the tip. It's entirely up to you. And the same with the side veins. Totally up to you. I'm going to do like I have here, dark at the base to light at the tip. And I think that probably looks the most natural. And what I'm going to do is put the side veins on one side first. And now remember, keep track of the way these fit together while you're putting the veins in, or you're going to get yourself confused. So make sure you know this is the top and this is the bottom and this is the side I'm putting the vein on, and it fits against the other one just like that, or you're going to get mixed up. Nope, I'm going to use this one. And you want, look at it this way, and this is the way the vein is going to run through your leaf. So this is where you're going to want to decide where you want to cut this. Okay, and I'm going to cut the outside part off, but I'm going to wait to cut the inside part off until I have all three side pieces put together. Now when I put the next piece in order with the first piece, I want to make sure that the outside leaf pieces match each other on the top and on the side and on the bottom. Don't offset them either way, or your leaf won't go together when you're done. And now that I have these two pieces together, I can cut along the center and get rid of the extra on the vein. Okay, now I want to put the next piece in. along the outside and get rid of that and line it up with the third piece on this side. It's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. And cut away the extra. All right. Now I'm going to put the center vein in here, just like this, and then we'll do the extra, the other side, and put them all together. Okay. Okay, now the second half of our leaf cane has been made, and we have the center vein in. And now it's just a matter of matching up the two sides on the top, on the sides, on the bottom. Make sure they match, push them together. And you want to cut anything sticking out, any of the veins that are sticking out. Flush with the cane. And there we have our leaf cane. And now we're going to reduce it, just like we talked about in a previous video. With Polymer Clay, you want to reduce the cane by pinching the centers of the cane. Don't just put it on your work surface and roll it, because then the outside of the cane is going to be warm and move faster than the very center of the cane, and you'll get a lot of distortion. So just pinch the center and stretch and try to keep it the same size all the way through, and move the whole cane at once, the outside and the inside of the roll. And you can see the center is even starting to bulge out on one end here, and that's okay. You'd rather have that than to see just the outside with a big hole in the center, which would mean that the outside of your cane is moving and stretching, but the inside is not. And you'll notice we don't have a leaf shape yet. That will come once we've reduced it. So don't worry about the fact that it's just round and not leaf shaped right now. Okay, so at any point in reducing your cane, you can decide you want to take a look at it, or you want to use some that's this size before you make it any smaller. You can see the cane from the side on this piece I just cut off. And now, to make it a leaf shape, we're going to find the tip right there, and we're going to put it down on our work surface and pinch with our fingers. And it's nice, we've got this little guide right here. We can see that's the tip of the center vein. So we know that's where we pinch to make the leaf shape. And there we have a leaf shape. And now you can make smaller leaves with the rest of the cane, or you can leave them this size. It's up to you. It depends on what you're going to use them in, what project you're going to use them in. And the best thing to do at this point, if you're going to use the cane this size to cut leaves, is to let it rest overnight before you cut it. But we're just going to cut one off. Another thing that you can do at this point is take a needle tool and reshape the edges by pushing in wherever the veins are on the side. And you can reshape your cane. And here's just an example of ways you can use your leaf cane. Here's some earrings I made by using the leaf cane as a charm. I drilled holes at the top, baked them by, I curved them a little bit like this and baked them curved so they weren't perfectly flat, and made earrings. And this is an example of ways you can use canes in your metal clay projects. This is a charm bracelet. I made charms out of Easy 960 metal clay, and I used a texture tool to pattern the back, and then I used an Easy 960 syringe on the edges to make a bezel. And when those were fired in the kiln after being sanded flat, then remember the flower cane from a previous video? I used that in these bezels, and then I used leaf canes in leaf-shaped bezels. So that's our project for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you give it a try and add some polymer clay to your repertoire.
Visit our Learning Center at cooltools.us for more cool jewelry making videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to sign up for our email list to be the first to hear about new videos, new products, and other cool stuff from Cool Tools.